what this means. Bitcoin has just done something that it hasn't done in 6 entire years. And is this a mega bull trap? Or is it actually the biggest squeeze, potentially the most gigantic prelude to game-changing pumpage that the world has ever witnessed? And have you seen this? I'm about to spoil the party, because if you miss this data, you will literally be unable to sleep at night knowing how big a mistake it was to ignore this. So sit down, grab a cold glass of milk, and let's liquidate the bears, our neighbors, and our own shorts. I'm your host, Barry Bustoff, and this episode is literally so big, I haven't been able to keep a single pair of my shorts dry all afternoon, as Bitcoin has broken 30,000 and subsequently gone on to do something that even the craziest, even the most moonish of moon boys would not expect. And what do I mean by that? Now this is huge. So you guys are new channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on those ghost notifications, never miss absolutely time-sensitive alerts. As well, if you guys are interested in bonuses, deals, make sure to check out all of the links below. Whether it's getting altcoins, trading, even longing this market, absolutely gigantic. You know, are we at the beginning of a dead cat bounce, or in fact, is there something much, much bigger at play? But without any further ado, let's dump on it. Unbelievable. And we can start here with the Bitfinex longs, historically used as a very interesting piece of data to calculate how the market is doing, right? We saw the prelude as the longs built up all the way into that summer bottom and subsequently began going down as the pump began. Are we about to see these longs dissipate as a true pump of a lifetime comes into play and people begin taking profits, as whales begin taking profits? After 9 red weekly candles, which we just saw, is Bitcoin now in store for some massive gainage? As Bitcoin dominance currently sits at 46.5%, having a nice little bounce over the last few weeks. What we saw and what we're about to see in just hours when the stock market opens, we saw some very nice greenage, and it is a non-trading holiday in the US. And so when we see these markets open very soon, will we see this trend continue? As the biggest thing, what we've been talking about, the DXY coming down to that 50-day moving average, it has happened. We've been talking about that since we very first touched on this back about 2 weeks ago, back on May 19th roughly, as we broke the 21-day, which we basically said, if we fail here, we're going to go down to the 50-day, and now fast forward about 11 days, here we are. Now, this is the most gigantic test, because if we fail here, there is not a lot of historical support for the DXY for quite a little bit, even below 100, which would give Bitcoin absolutely a much bigger green light to run to the upside, which, again, it's just not as likely that Bitcoin can run if the DXY is running, and the DXY ran for basically the last year. Remember, it bottomed out in summer of last year, and Bitcoin has been tanking really since then. It did set a new all time at 69,000. Nice. But other than that, it's been tanking. So, is this the beginning? This is literally the exact area where many people are waiting or were expecting the DXY might come into resistance. And here we are on the 3rd red weekly here. This is ginormous. This is game changing. If the DXY truly does get goo goo gaga right here, then it could be game over for the DXY for a little bit and Bitcoin's turn to go on a nice little rampage. And this is the exact area. So again, this is a very good thing. We see the stock market doing well. We see the DXY doing bad. And those are two very, very, very good things for Bitcoin. And with that, Bitcoin has been getting dumped on since November of last year, basically not a single relief rally at all. And now here is the chance, this is the very first little breakout we've seen. If you want to draw some sort of like little, maybe like a little falling wedge here, we're seeing this breakout to the upside. We saw that massive volume capitulation that most likely, I think, as I've been saying, I think is the bottom around here. Could we trade sideways for a longer period of time? Absolutely. Before we continue, one thing I think is absolutely possible is that we make this move up to the mid 30,000s and then we might get a small rejection. And then, okay, so even though if this could be the beginning of a nice bigger bounce that we could, touch the 40s or even 50s again, along the way, there are going to be people that get faked out. So one thing that I think is guaranteed to happen is that there will be a little pullback this upcoming week. If we, let's say we actually get back up to these mid $30,000 ranges, there will be a pullback just like there always is. And people will think, okay, yeah, it definitely was a bull trap. And then that could be good for the bulls, right? Because then we can take them by surprise again. And so that's one thing we're going to be looking at in a second here. But Bitcoin begins a new week by hitting 31K. Bulls are relieved today with a bounce in digital assets, especially as the sector failed to rally last week alongside publicly traded tech stocks, as tech stocks rallied last week. So it comes on the back of a bump in Asian equities amid reports Chinese cities have actually started to ease restrictions with their lockdowns. And this is good, betting on the reopening of the economy, which could increase company revenue. And again, just there's some good macroeconomic stuff and on-chain data as well showing Bitcoin long-term holders continuing to soak up supply around 30K. And bear markets are typically marked by capitulation, where discouraged investors abandon their positions and asset prices either consolidate as inflows to the sector taper off or a bottoming process begins. And pretty much Bitcoin holders are the only ones left, according to this data, doubling down as prices correct below 30K. We've seen wallet addresses, wallets with non-zero balances, plateauing this month, a process which was seen after the crypto market sell-off last summer. And there are signs of heavy accumulation as well. You can see that printed here. Basically, there's just a lot of evidence showing that no matter what, it is very likely, whether this turns into a longer-term downtrend or it doesn't, it's just very likely in the short term we will see a move to the upside, in my opinion, to at least the 40K range, okay, over the next few weeks. This month specifically. And then as well, trader who nailed Bitcoin meltdown unveils fresh warning. He's basically just saying here, just some Twitter guy saying that he believes that this is a bull trap, right? So a lot of people are going to be saying that. And that's what I just said. Like a lot of people, you know, let's say we get a pump. We've already pumped a couple $1,000s today. Let's say over the next week, 2 weeks, we get continued upside. The very first time that we see fresh pullback again, maybe even revisiting the 30K, lower 30Ks, a lot of people will say, see, I told you this was a bull trap. We're going to keep going lower. And that could be the ultimate switcheroo, fakeroo once again, right? Because I think a lot of people that are seasoned in this market understand that in bearish trends like we're in, it's very likely that dead cat bounces or bull traps are always possible. And I think that a lot of people are not blinded to that at this point. I think a lot of people understand that. So yeah, a lot of people are expecting that this will be a bull trap, which leads me to believe that maybe we won't get one. And as well, this post at the top of Reddit I actually really like, and I want to explain why. So it says here, some people need to hear this. You cannot predict how this bear market will go by looking at previous ones, and your model is not better than guessing. Now, without reading anything else about this, that's true. There really is not a single person you can watch, not a single Twitter account, nobody on this planet that actually knows what is going to happen, right? Nobody. But again, that's the most exciting thing, is that what that means basically is like this doesn't have to be another year and a half of a bear market. This doesn't have to be as dumpy as most people would have you expect right now. Nobody knows. So, you know, basically hearing this, you can think of it two ways. Yes, nobody can tell you that we're about to pump and we're about to go on a nice run, but also everybody telling you, oh, we're going down to 20K, we're going down to 15K, we're going down to 10K. They have literally no idea, and there's zero actual evidence that should be regarded as important aside from historical data. That's literally it. So there really is nobody that can predict exactly this. And looking at the past bull runs and everything like that, there really is no model that has been proven to work, I guess, aside from the halving event, which is like programmed from the beginning. Other than that, rainbow charts, the lengthening cycles, all of that has turned out to not be accurate at all. So I look at that as a good way, right? Because I think the sky is the limit. And I think the uncertainty of how high this could go or what could happen over the next year, I think is amazing. Because again, a lot of people believe that there's zero chance that we have any significant pumping for the rest of this year. And I just think that there's a very good chance that we do have significant pumping this year. So if you get a new channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on those ghost notifications to never miss these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. As well, if you're interested in any bonuses or deals, if you're interested in trading, getting altcoins, there are massive bonuses of $4,000 plus Bybit and Femex links below. Remember, there is risk involved with trading, with longing, with shorting the market, but there is risks involved with everything in crypto. And so again, I have to say that. It goes without saying, however, it's very obvious. But as well, I have one Twitter and one Instagram, and they're in my description, and every other account of me is fake. Without any further ado, it's for me.